And now the latest around the wide world of tropics. Tropical Weather Bulletin for June 24th. Tropical Storm Dolly has become the 30th storm of 2020 around the world. On day 176 of the year so far, it's the only named storm that's active right now, although there are plenty of areas of interest around the world at this point. Day 24 of Atlantic hurricane season, it's obviously the main feature in the Atlantic, no other areas with any chances of development. Dolly itself looked much better earlier, it's starting to fade away a little bit. In the Eastern Pacific, look at this, day 41 and now 5 areas of interest. The one furthest west has the highest chance on our numbers right now, 80% in the next 5 days. Nothing active in the Western Pacific. It's the elephant in the room, it's rather quiet. Nothing at all to talk about over in this basin. Of course, it did have Rongfong last month and Nuri this month, but not much. Not what you'd expect, really. 10% chance still for an area of interest in the southern Indian Ocean off the coast of Indonesia, now clearly traceable on satellite. So this is a look at Tropical Storm Dolly. 40-mile-an-hour winds we're giving it now after its earlier peak of 45. Pressure of 1003 millibars. It's 340 miles southeast of Halifax, Nova Scotia. It's expected to turn post-tropical very soon, within about 6 to 12 hours probably. By the 24-hour point, it's approaching Newfoundland, and as a post-tropical remnant, it will pass over the eastern tip of the island of Newfoundland. It will probably be barely traceable by that point, if anything, a bit of rain. Dolly is just about off the screen now, just off the top edge of that graphic, which seems to have glitched in that latest frame. What you'll also notice across the Atlantic is 2 massive areas of Saharan dust. One of them has already made it to the Caribbean Sea over the Greater Antilles, the other one coming off the Sahara right now. And also a lot of flare-ups off the coast of Texas and Louisiana at this point in time. Not tropical, but something interesting to look at. The Eastern Pacific then, okay, let's start at the 80% on the left-hand side. That's the most clearly visible one. It's got rotation. 40% is the one to the right-hand side of that. You can see some little bit of rotation broadly on that as well. The other 3, those are for later in the 5-day period, day 3 to 5 generally. You can already see a few flare-ups on what might become that one of those disturbances. A lot happening over there. The Western Pacific, in contrast, very little going on. You can see a lot of cloud over on the to the south of the Ryukyu Islands. A lot of weather that's not sure what it's doing with itself, but certainly I don't see any tropical signals coming out of that. The South Pacific looking equally just as quiet. A few thunderstorms blowing up off Papua New Guinea and to the south of the Solomon Islands, and also a little bit not far from Samoa. The Indian Ocean, you can see those 2 little disturbances on the south side there. The one near Indonesia is the one that we're tracking, a 10% chance, and one further west there as well, which we also had on our books for a little while earlier. Sea surface temperatures where those disturbances may form in the Eastern Pacific, getting warm, 29, 30 degrees Celsius. I think it's a pretty sure thing that 3 of those storms will form, maybe more. The Atlantic fairly warm as well, warming up just as we saw. Dolly took advantage of warm sea surface temperatures to reach its status, which people thought wouldn't happen. Around 26, 27 degrees Celsius waters helped it along the way there. Indian Ocean fairly warm in general, not too much to say compared to recent updates. Not much has changed in the Eastern Hemisphere, but as always, very warm waters in the Western Pacific. Most of it's above average, as you can see. These are the anomalies. The Eastern Pacific, the area where those areas of interest are, if that makes sense, is a little bit above average. But still the La Nina in effect further south in the equatorial region. This is Tropical Storm Dolly then, sort of falling behind a little bit with my narration, but there it is. You can see its movement in the last few hours. I'm not sure how long a loop this is. Gradual movement towards the northeast. And it had more convection earlier in the day. It started to lose a little bit of that now, so it is going to be a short-lived tropical cyclone, but it is a tropical cyclone, definitely. There's no real doubt about that. And again, not sure what's going on with that imagery there, but that is the latest from Dolly, and gradual weakening we expect to continue from here on in. Not too much else to say about it, and the threat to land is pretty small, minuscule. Just in case you did want to look at what the other models are saying, you can see there, I mean, there's not much to say on that at all in terms of the intensities. They're all going weaker, pretty much. Wind shear will be on the rise. That's the main reason why the storm will weaken. Obviously, sea surface temperatures are going to drop down as well. Look at them right now, only barely hanging on at 25.5. And its track will take it to the northeast and then, you know, just clip the coast of Newfoundland and then sink towards the east somewhere. On June 24th, 1993, Super Typhoon Corin was active in the Western Pacific, not far from the Philippines. A very photogenic storm, Category 5 peak on this day. Our records list it with a peak wind speed of 165 miles per hour and a pressure of 900 millibars. This, of course, was 6 years after Recon's final flight in the Western Pacific, so all storms after 1987 are satellite estimates only, unfortunately. So the next name in the Atlantic is going to be Edouard, followed by Faye. In the Eastern Pacific, it seems pretty inevitable that we're going to get Boris soon, followed by Christina, Douglas, Elida, Fausto if it gets that far. In the Central Pacific, Hone is next up on list 1. In the Western Pacific, Sinlaku is next on the naming list, list 3, followed by Hagupit. And in the North Indian Ocean, the next name on the brand new list 1 is Gatti. In the Australian region, the next name is Imogen, followed by Joshua. In the Southwest Indian Ocean, we've got about 7 days left for Kundai to form. And in the South Pacific, Yolanda is the next name on the list there. That's all for now. We'll have another tropical weather bulletin tomorrow. Check out our new look cyclone tracker on the Force 13 website for the latest up-to-date information. You can also find us, of course, on our YouTube channel, search Force 13, and also on Facebook and Twitter, Force 13 at Force 13 on Twitter for the latest updates. You can also help the project become even better by becoming an Ultimate Fan on YouTube. To see the full list of Ultimate Fan benefits and to join, visit youtube.com/force13/join. With a special thanks to our top supporters this month. You can also check out our growing merch store so you can show Force 13's colours wherever you go. You can also find a link to our Discord server underneath this video in the description.